So in this video, we're going to be looking at Dungeon Covetous. It can be found just above the town of Cove here, as well as the Minok Moongate. It's pretty close to both of those, but again, the easiest way to get here is just to take a rune from the Britbank player vendor shops. So that being said, let's hop into this dungeon. Covetous has quite a few different monsters in here. None of them are particularly very good at this point. A lot of people won't farm here just because it's not a very good dungeon to be in. But with that being said, that also means there's probably a lesser chance of PKs coming here, and more of a chance of you just being able to farm in privacy. So the first thing it's going to have is just some harpies. Again, it starts off very easy. And one thing to note about Dungeon Covetous, actually, I'm going to go back here, is if you see these little black things on my screen, like this, these are actually traps, and they do a lot of damage to you. So if you hit a bunch of them in a row, it's going to hurt quite a bit. As you can see, my health starts to get real low. So you just need to be aware of all these like black things on the ground. Just try to avoid them. And you can do that just like that. So that being said, we'll move on. There's some harpies that are available. Some headless ones. These are very easy mobs, so for a new player, this is a good place to start as long as you're aware of avoiding those. This place also has a lot of thief crates in it, if you want to do that. But it's kind of just like a little maze that you need to run through. This place also has a lot of bosses in it. So if you're looking to do bosses, and there's a lot of easy bosses in here. So if you're just starting out and interested in doing like easy bosses with a couple friends, this is the place to go. So that's Cove 1. It's just got headless ones. Starts having gazers at the end, and it'll actually have the first boss available, which can be soloed if you're very prepared, or just a couple people will fight it. And it's called the Dark Overseer here. And it's just a big gazer. Moving on to Covetous 2. Once you go through this thing, you're going to go to the mountains, and generally you're just going to want to run through here. There's nothing interesting in here. A bunch of skeletons, nothing too important. Moving to Covetous 2. And so in this dungeon, we're going to see another boss. But also there's going to be sentinels in here, and sentinels move very fast, and like at the same space as you, so you need to kind of be aware of those. They don't actually aggro very often though, so usually you can just walk right past them, it's not a problem. But you're going to start to see stone harpies. Those are a little bit harder than the regular harpies, but you're going to see the stone harpy sentinel as well as the, I forget what it's a gazer sentinel of some name. And then there's also some spiders in here. So up here is going to be the Harpy Matriarch, which is a little bit harder. There's the actual sentinel right there. The Harpy Matriarch, when it's up, will spawn in this back corner right here. It's a little bit harder than the Dark Overseer, and it spawns a lot of ads, so you're going to need some friends to kill that one. Moving on, we're going to start seeing those spiders. This is a good place to tame if you're trying to get your taming up and you're a new tamer. And then there's also a dread spider in the back here, which is a much harder version of that. But just be aware, these things poison you, so they're kind of annoying to fight, and they don't drop a lot of gold, so most people will just skip over those entirely. Moving on through Covetous, we can see it's got a... You start seeing gazers here, as well as elder gazers. None of these things actually see in viz at the making of this video, so you can actually stealth right by them if you want to. But just be aware they do cast level 6 spells like that, and they do hurt. So if you get a few of those on them, you're going to die. So just be prepared for that. Moving on through Covetous Mountain, we're going to get to this back Covetous area. And this, if anyone's going to be farming, it would usually be here. But again, it's not really the greatest place to farm, so most people will just not come here. Unless they want to kill bosses. So moving on, we're going to come into this back room here. Now we're going to see that this place has some more dungeon crates for you to farm, as well as thief crates, as well as lockpicker crates, or lockpicker chests. So if you're interested in that, you can do that. This back room here is going to be to one of the big bosses of the game. It's Cora, but you can't enter it unless you have all the Covetous boss keys. So you'll need to kill those in order to get to that big boss in the end. This character is not actually flagged, so I can't go in there. And then back in this corner here, we're going to see one of the big bosses as well, which it'll probably not be up, but this is where Ancient Rotting Corpse will spawn. As well, there is the Rotting Corpses in this back area here. And they hit real hard with their poison, so again, not a great place to farm on a melee. This is kind of like summoner territory, because the summoner pet is immune to poison. Moving on out of this area, the next thing we're going to go is into the Lich King room, which is another boss available. And this room has got a lot of mobs in it, so I need to be careful or I will die. It has Lich Lords, Liches, basically all the mobs that are in this dungeon spawn in this one as well. And it's got a lot, but I'm going to run through here and hopefully see. Yes, as you can see, there is the Lich King, so there's one of the bosses. This is one of the tougher ones. It's got a lot of HP, and it also spawns a lot of adds. But if you got a bunch of friends or a bunch of alts, you can give it a shot. Moving on through this dungeon. Oof, got hit quite hard there. Oh no. As you can see, this gets kind of hard to do, but you can make it through. It's just a matter of being prepared for everything. So now coming down here, you're going to be in the dragon room. So you've got the dragon sentinel as well as your dragons. Also, we have some cleverly locked boxes here. They seem to be missing though, so somebody's probably picked most of them. And then you kind of come into the very final room of this area. And this room really isn't for farming. It's mostly just for the big ancient Hydra boss that sometimes spawns here. There's another chest there. So this area is basically just for the big boss. You won't come here just to farm regular mobs, but there is another pack beetle here if you're interested in taming that. But that is Covetous Dungeon.